This 20-inch e-bike here is called the Wowcat C1. Now, it is a carbon fiber foldable 20-inch e-bike. So the frame, it folds in half right here. The handlebars, they do also come down. And because it has the carbon fiber frame to it, it is lightweight for this style of bike and being an e-bike. It is 17 kilos, just a fraction over. Now, the battery pack, it is 10 amp hours, gives us a range. They claim, Wowcat, of up to 100 kilometers. It's a 36 volt system, powers a rear hub motor, which is 250 watts. Now, because this is a more upmarket foldable e-bike, it does have a torque sensor. So when you start to pedal, it pretty much gives you that power straight away, and it's very smooth power delivery. The wheels on it, 20 inches, road tires, 2.3 inch wide, and it does have mechanical 160 millimeter disc brakes. So with the handlebars, when they fold down here and then the bike in half, it makes it quite easy to fit this, for example, in the trunk or the boot of a car. So it does have a tail light and a headlight incorporated into the design of it, a large color display here too, and up to 5 different pedal levels, pedal assist levels. The brakes with the C1 Wowcat here, they are mechanical disc brakes, 160 millimeters. This is pretty standard. It would have been nice if it had hydraulics, but I think because of the foldable design, it might not actually be possible. But still, as you see later on with my braking test, the performance of these brakes isn't actually bad at all. And as I mentioned at the start there, the motor is 250 watts. It runs off a 36 volt system with a maximum speed of 25 kilometers per hour, which is the legal limit here. The tourney derailleur here, pretty standard here, very low end Shimano, but it works well, and we have 7 speeds. Tires the Wowcat C1 has road tires here, directional. I can't see any brand on them, and they are 2.3 inches wide and 20 inches. The bike does come with a LED light at the front here, our headlight. Now, it's bright enough that you can see where you are riding at night time, and it does have a reflector below it. Rear tail light, which is also an LED, and you can get this a customized nameplate for the bike. Just like the bikes, the pedals too are a foldable design, so you can press them in and then fold them up. It's a little difficult to do it. You do get the hang of it, and then you need to pull them down and they clip into place. The front fork does have a quick release, so it's very easy to remove this front wheel, but there isn't one on the rear, which is pretty normal. Now, I do like the frame finish. It is this painted matte blue here, which looks great, and we've got at the top here this little accent that is a synthetic style leather. Now, the folding mechanism, there's a little latch in here that you do need to push up, then pull the lever down, and you can drop and fold down the handlebars, which then does collapse down like so. Then the folding latch is the same. There's a little lever here that you need to push forward and then pull out the lever, and you can fold the bike in half, which then gives us the bike's complete folded state like so. I can even drop the seat post down, which is locked in place. The seat post is also the battery. So with it folded up, you can easily fit it in the trunk or the boot of a car, or store it away under a stairwell, for example. And because the seat post is actually our battery, 10 amp hours, 36 volt system, it is locked into place. You can adjust the seat, of course, with this, but you just need to unlock it here, pull on this lever, adjust the height of it, or completely remove the battery. So Wowcat does sell mudguards for this particular model here, and you'll find the mounting points and the screws do come with the bike, but it is an optional extra, I believe. The Wowcat C1 does use the lock grips. Here are our pedal assist levels, so plus and minus, 5 different levels. Power on button is just right here, and then we've got our mode button. There is a bow incorporated into the front brake lever, pretty standard, and the brake levers do feel good, nice and firm. Gear selector is the typical thumb style one here from Shimano, so 7 speeds, and our rear brake. This bike does have a very clear display, so you can see our speed, battery, power, and the pedal assist level. So 0, obviously that is off, right up to 5. The odometer, trip, time, pressing the M button, the mode button, you can then see the average speed and maximum speed, even the wattage right there. So it's a great display, 3.5 inches TFT panel. The charge port for this e-bike is located here, and to charge this 10 amp hour battery, it will take 6 hours, so you probably need to do that overnight so it's ready for the morning for those longer rides you may be doing. So what is this Wowcat C1 like to ride? It's the best way to describe it, like a BMX basically. So from your childhood memories of riding BMXs, well, it's pretty much the same kind of thing, but foldable, maybe even a little bit lighter, and of course with the motor. So it does have a torque sensor. Most other brands will go with the cheaper speed sensor that doesn't work quite as well. This just gives you that power straight away. The power delivery is very smooth, and you can see that my knees are nowhere near the handlebars, so there's no risk of me when you do normal turning circles of really having my knees hit the handlebar. That has not happened to me yet. So it is very smooth when you power along, and to get up to 25 kilometers per hour, the more you put in, the more it will give you that motor up to 25 kilometers per hour. So it is a 250 watt motor, which is the legal limit here, and that 25 kilometers per hour is the legal limit too as well. So restricted by the EU law, but it rides really nice. So perfect for this, just riding and cruising along in bike lanes. A perfect A to B commute bike here. The Shimano gears here, so 7 speeds, goes through them nicely here, no real problems with the changes. As long as it hasn't taken any damage in the box, it actually comes in a big crate, wooden crate. As long as that derailleur doesn't get knocked about, the gear changes will be nice and smooth. Climb test time, so this is about a 25-degree climb that I'm going to go up, and I've got it in the first gear in pedal assist level number 5, and this seems easy. I can just go up this nice and slow. I don't have to put that much effort in because I am in the lowest gear. The first gear, I could probably even go up a couple of gears. So even though it's only a 200 watt motor, 36 volts, it seems to be doing this okay. Now I've got to put a little bit of effort in. I'd estimate that maybe about 40% my effort, 60% from the motor. And I can see on the screen the power gauge is right up the top. So it's the maximum output here, and it's doing fine. I can happily climb up this steep hill like this. As for the brakes, so very stock standard 160mm mechanical disc brakes. The brake levers have a good feel to them. So from this white post, full braking, good braking distance. It's very easy to lock up the rear with it, but overall the brakes aren't bad for mechanical disc brakes. What about our top speed? So I'm in the 7th gear here, highest gear, pedaling as fast as I can. I can get it up to around 34 kilometers per hour, maybe around 35, 36. It's easy enough to do, and of course, doing so right now, I'm not using up that battery at all once it goes over 25 kilometers per hour. And how is the range on it? Well, they do claim that you can get up to 100 kilometers. Now, I don't see that really being possible unless maybe, number 1, you weigh about 50 kilos. Number 2, you only use pedal assist level number 1. Now, I mostly use pedal assist 3, 4, 5 at times on the climbs and things, and I am able to get around about 60 kilometers. You could probably go around 65 with a few climbs and then riding mostly on the flat. Do bear in mind that when you start to pedal over 25 kilometers per hour, the motor then is not working at all. So you're not using the battery. The battery, I do like the fact that it is locked into place, so no one can just go along and remove it, unlatch it, and just take it. No. And it means later on, if you do need a replacement, it should be pretty easy to do that. 10 amp hours is a fairly decent capacity for this style of bike, and the range, being able to get about 60 for a 20-inch rim bike is very good. So the finish here of the carbon fiber frame, I really like it. I like this blue they've gone with, and I cannot see really any imperfections with it. It's nice, this little accent here they've got with what looks like it's a synthetic style leather on the top. The torque sensor works really well, gives you that power pretty much instantaneous when you need it. It'll work straight away on the climbs. And okay, it's only 250 watts. It does climb reasonably well as long as you're in the lower gear there, and the top speed does seem to be pretty good. Now the braking performance, excellent. For mechanical disc brakes, they are really good. They bite really well, and I've got no complaints with the braking performance of this. It is a very smooth, cruisy ride, thanks to those tires. They're street tires. They don't seem to have a brand on them, but they're good, and they're 2.3 inches wide, a little bit wider than what some other manufacturers do use for 20-inch rims. Overall, everything checks out. It is, yes, an expensive e-bike. It's about $1,800 US, but you are getting quite a bit more than the other bikes that, yes, do the same job, but this is lighter, better range, better components, better materials, a good set of LED headlight and tail light on it too as well, which I do like. The only real cons for me, and this is minor, is the kickstand. I find this kickstand to be very annoying. It's quite short, and they've placed it right on the end of the frame here, and it's very easy for the bike just to topple over, and it's expensive. You don't want to be damaging it. The other is another minor. I've heard a little bit of a squeak noise sometimes just out the front, but there's no real play in the fork, just a tiny little bit, and it's just where the front locking mechanism is here for that foldable handlebar. So that has made a couple of noises. So it's just minor little things of an otherwise excellent carbon fiber 20-inch foldable e-bike here, the Wowcat C1.